Today's episode is powered by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. As they stand in solidarity with the Black community and everyone fighting for racial and food justice, HelloFresh is proud to support Black voices and to affirm that Black lives matter today and every day.
Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of The Line, D.C. On this show, you hear from the voices of dynamic Black people and people of color in the agriculture, food justice, and healing space as they share empowering food narratives and perspectives that stem from the land, all while exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Transcendence, the Black agricultural experience. Unity, humanity, and identity represent a thread in the DNA of the Black agricultural and Indigenous experience. As I reflect on my work and walking the land with Black growers, I find myself transcending back in time with my ancestors, stewarding, celebrating, and surviving off the land. These lived experiences are a reflection of our history, having reverence for the soil that feeds humanity and represents an ecosystem of healing, preservation, and resiliency. The seeds planted are stories of our past, present, and the future that continue to blossom and spring forth the richness and color of our culture each and every day. These themes are ones that I have pulled from walking alongside Black growers to explore their journey and what continues to feed them in this space. Unity. As the beat of the djembe played, I stood on stage at a Black Farm Festival in Detroit of 2018, emulating West African dance moves that a beautiful, beautiful queen taught to a group of us. The story we were learning from her was kinesthetic and communing with our bodies. Simultaneously, another story was told by a farmer and West African drummer of why rhythms about farming were created that danced through my mindscape. Celebrating the hard work and harvest was inspiration and motivation to be on the land for hours at a time under the hot sun. On that stage, as he spoke, and my mind going back to Africa, I saw my ancestors digging, chanting, and sweating together, nourishing their neighbors together, and healing together. Successful crops relied on the farmer's musical ear of tuning to the rhythms and cadences of Mother Earth and stepping to the beat accordingly. I opened my eyes and faced the present. A contemporary community of Black folks in the sun, healers, artists, herbalists, cooks, brothers and sisters adorned with African prints, a farmer harvesting greens in the sun, all a part of this ancestral rhythm to celebrate this Black land that we are planted on, a land we continue now to plant and root ourselves into for individual and collective sustenance. Humanity. A calling to step outside oneself and feed people is an act of love for humanity, and a purpose so deep that sometimes it makes me forget how history did not care for Black humanity. An agricultural system built on the backs of the enslaved, going through the Middle Passage like animals, yet we were innovating. How could we be existing so much into this present moment knowing with such a brutal dying throughout the past? My ancestors were whipped, chained, bought, and put to work, still to become the best cooks of our time? And still I question how we care and love so deeply for the people on our planet, but the same love for Black humanity hasn't been reciprocated. Whether I am in the studio, recording from home, or standing in front of a trellis of tomatoes at a grower's house, the Black farmer's work is centered around advancing the quality of life for others, and their belief is that everyone is deserving of a fair food system, better environment, and overall harmony. This was and continues to be bigger and beyond the cruelty that our people have endured in our orientation to the short-sighted and brutal greed of our white-skinned counterparts. It was allegiance in relationship with our great mother that enabled their spirits to flourish then, and it's the same alliance that nurtures our wisdom into this present day. Identity. My ancestors' identities were stolen, reflecting the surname of their holders, leaving them non-existent, and only to be viewed as labor. Yet they found themselves in and of the land, the same land that present-day Black growers tie their identities to. Kamal Bell, CEO of Sankofa Farms, stands behind the meaning of Sankofa. Go back and get it. Reclaiming our identities embodies this definition and challenges us to embrace our ancestry. There has been no other space more than this that has led me to uncovering the genealogy of my family with a burning desire to understand my own existence in agrarian life. Peeling back the layers of Black farmer and grower stories, I find myself doing the same with my family lineage and unearthing where and who I come from. We are all doing the work that our elders did before us, as even the griots were an important part of our Black history. In conclusion, transcendence. Healing ourselves backwards by revisiting the past to understand our present experiences and building legacies for the future. Our legacy began on the land of Africa and disseminated globally when my ancestors were stolen from our collective motherland. They carried seeds in the kinks and coils of their hair to hold on to their identity and traditions as they rooted into new lands and new dimensions. These heirloom artifacts have gone on to bloom despite weathering conditions and reality-bending challenges. We have adapted and evolved new hybrids whose roots continue to exchange nourishment with their ancestral lineage. In the agricultural and culinary arenas, these practices have yielded award-winning chefs, food experiences launched by Black women to tell the story of the diaspora, and media platforms such as mine, Food Talks in Color, and the Edible Activist podcast. Tambaray Stevenson, CEO of WANDA, Women Advancing Nutrition, Dietetics, and Agriculture, reminds us that women are cultural keepers. And as I close each show, I am always resolute to state, in the words of Baba Tariq Adunu, that there is no culture without agriculture. It is my intention to be the keeper of our culture and document our experiences in this space so that our future visionaries and leaders can go back in time and revisit the innovation that is currently taking place. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow Food Talks in Color, that's just the letter N, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for all updates. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. Just shoot me a DM on the gram or connect with me at foodtalksincolor.com. And if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, let's connect. Peace and blessings. And remember, in the words of Baba Tariq Adunu, there is no culture without agriculture.